We'll do our burritos in just a minute. I had to make more tater tots because everybody was eating tater tots. Goodness, this window behind me is so bright. But I like the light, I don't want to close it. Hopefully this is okay, y'all. Today we are going to be doing just some meal prep type things. I am going to make breakfast burritos. Behind me here, I have this pan of tater tots. They are not organic or good for you or anything at all, but they are left over and they are food, and so we're going to eat them. We had these from my son's birthday party, so we're gonna stick those in some burritos. I'm gonna go out and grill some bacon on the griddle on our grill. And I'm also gonna make a Chipotle Aioli and have it on the side for these burritos. I'll probably just keep it in the fridge because I don't think my husband wants this on his burrito, right? You don't want this?
No.
Part of the reason I'm doing this is because we're running a little bit low on cheese, and I'm trying to be resourceful rather than just going to the store and buying more cheese. So there is that. Oh, and I'm gonna put eggs in the burritos. And then here in my little fringes of time, I have our first major basil harvest. I'm hoping it grows back again, right? That's what basil does, I think. I've got a bunch of different varieties here. I thought it'd be fun to order the variety pack from Azure, and it has been fun, except I have no clue what anything is out there. And we really just love the normal sweet basil. So I think next year I'm just gonna go for the sweet basil. In the meantime, I'm gonna preserve all of this together and hope it tastes okay. I think I'm just gonna do olive oil and basil, sort of like a pesto base, but I don't wanna turn it all into pesto because there are other things throughout the year that I think we would like fresh basil in or on. So I don't wanna add the garlic and pine nuts and all of that to this just yet. So sometimes I come out here to do bacon just because I don't like it to smell up the house, and I will plug in a hot plate, the same one I use for canning, and I'll just put a pan on it. But today I thought, why not just use this griddle attachment? Feels a little bit trickier. It's hotter, you know? I definitely don't want to burn myself. We'll let that go for a few minutes and then we'll put the next batch on. See if I can flip this without getting popped. So one thing about pasture raised pork, especially the bacon, is sometimes it smells a lot more like pork chops, like, you know, like pork. We call it PC bacon because we don't want our kids to know that the bacon tastes like pork chops, you know, because then they'll latch onto that. But it tastes okay. Sometimes it does also taste like pork. We've had that happen to us. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Of course it tastes like pork, but like it tastes more meaty like a pork chop rather than cured and flavorful the way that bacon would be. This time around, we did go ahead and have it cured with nitrate, which I don't love, but we do like the taste a lot better. We are hopeful in the future to make our own bacon, but we've had a hard time sourcing a well-raised pork belly. So it seems like we're either sacrificing the way the meat was raised or the way the meat is processed.
Have to pick up the...
Yep, so we have to pick off the leaves off of the stem. So let's take this piece. You would just pull off the leaves, drop them in there.
No, I know how to do it now.
Okay.
I feel
Good job. Just like that. You want to come help?
do that.
Pulling all the leaves off.
I did it.
That way you don't tear it. That's a big old one. The next thing I'm going to do is crack these eggs and get these cooked up. And then I'm probably going to let all of these ingredients that are going to go in the burrito cool down quite a bit because they're going to have to cool down anyway before they go in the freezer. And then while they're cooling, I'm going to finish my little basil project. My kids helped for a little bit, but I have lost their attention span, and that's okay. I also need to take a minute to make the Chipotle Aioli. I have a little bulb of garlic. I'll show you in a moment. We have garlic growing in some fabric raised beds outside, and we aren't sure if they're ready to pick or not. It's our first year growing them, and I thought they were showing some signs of being ready. So my husband said, why don't you just pull one up? And so we did. And it's still pretty small, but it is forming a bulb. It's doing what it's supposed to, so we'll see. I'm gonna start by melting a little bit of butter in the bottom of my pan. And then I'm gonna season these eggs with pepper and salt. I think I'm aiming for about 10 burritos, and I did 15 eggs. Sometimes I do 2 or 3 eggs per burrito, but since we have these hash brown potatoes, I think the burritos are gonna get pretty, they're gonna have plenty of stuff in them. I don't wanna overstuff them. I also only like a ton of egg. If it's cheesy, maybe the Chipotle Aioli will compensate for that, but I think this will be plenty eggs. While that melts down, let me move these burritos. I have a decent sized kitchen. I just do so much in it that I fill the space so quick. I have this basil here that is all done being pulled. This purple basil, I almost think it's a shame that I'm putting it in this pesto because it tastes like, I mean, it smells like licorice. It is such an interesting flavor. I wonder what this pesto will taste like with all these different varieties. Maybe I will grow more varieties in the future, but I'm gonna buy some that have labels because I looked up online different, you know, like I tried to look at a chart of all the different types of basil, and it's really hard to identify them because some of them look the same. Like there's a bunch of different kinds of purple basil, and then a bunch that have purple stems and green leaves, and so I didn't really get anywhere. Let me go grab my big jug of olive oil rather than using my little container. Olive oil is one of the things that I still buy from Costco. It is just way cheaper than Azure still. That looks nice. I may have been a little overzealous on the olive oil, but I'm gonna give it one more go. All right, awesome. I am gonna think a little bit about how I'm gonna freeze this. I have a few different ideas, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna run with. So I'm just gonna set this to the side and whoop, and finish the eggs. I like cooking my eggs in a hot pan, but I feel like you have to keep them moving constantly. When the egg gets browned at all on the bottom, I just do not like it. So I usually sit here and stir this pan the whole time. I saw this method with somebody who was doing garlic the other day, and I thought it looked interesting. Basically, she poured her garlic into a bag, and then she sealed the bag, pressed everything flat, and scored it with a chopstick so that once it's frozen, you can just reach in and break off the piece you need. I'm not a huge fan of single-use plastics, but I was worried that if I did this in a silicone bag, the silicone bag would taste like basil forever. Also, my silicone bags have not been the greatest, and they don't seal at the top. So I only use them for things that I can just like fold it over and put a clip on, and I really want this to be airtight. If you have a really great silicone bag brand, I would love to know. It's crazy how small that basil mashed down to be. All right, let's see here. I really thought this was gonna make so much more. I wonder if this is just gonna be really potent. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna keep it along this bottom layer though. I would love someday to experiment with a freeze dryer for stuff like this, but we are just not there yet. Okay, I think I'm just gonna use this metal straw because it's thinner than the chopstick I have. Basically, you just score it. I think I'm gonna leave the top strip as one piece. Man, you can't push too hard because it presses the other rows back together. So I don't know how well this will work. Just keep going back over it. All right. I'm gonna call that good. It's as good as it's gonna get because if you push too hard, they just mush back together. It's a really thin layer, so I don't think it's gonna be hard to break a piece off anyway. An alternative would have just been using like a little cookie scoop and freezing it flat on some parchment paper and then throwing those little pucks into a bag. I have some regrets, but it's okay, it's fine. We're doing an experiment and I will do it that way next time. We'll do our burritos in just a minute. I had to make more tater tots because everybody was eating tater tots. So I'm making some more and then we'll make our burritos. Next, I'm going to work on the Chipotle Aioli. My favorite way to handle adobo chili peppers, the kind that come in the can, is I like to take parchment paper on a cookie sheet and just spoon the peppers out with a fair amount of liquid around each pepper. And then they can freeze like that, and then you can put the little pucks in a bag. And they also chop much easier when they are a little bit frozen. I've been mixing all of my sauces lately in pint jars, and I really like doing it this way. They also store so easy in the fridge then, because you can just throw a lid on, and you don't have to worry about using the sauce all at once. And I realized I forgot to show you the bulb. It was about 1.25 inches in diameter, the garlic bulb that we pulled out. And this is a couple of the little cloves that came off of that. They were very watery, so definitely not done, but it was still fun. And to the sauce, I'm going to add some salt and some cumin and a little bit of onion powder. I almost messed up here and added garlic powder. And then we're going to add mayo. This is crummy store-bought mayo because it's what we like. So we stood in the aisle and read ingredients for mayonnaise for a long time, trying to find one that we thought we would still like, but that wasn't that dirty, and this was the one we settled on. This came out really well. I will put the recipe down below. And then I'm going to put my tortillas out on foil, and I do realize to turn the light on in a moment, so I'm sorry it's so dark. But I usually do them all at the same time, but on this day I was competing with my toddler who is hopping up here and eating everything, so I just did a few at a time. Also, when I lay these out, I always do the ingredients when they're cool, because one time I added hot eggs on here and it soaked through the bottom of the tortilla, and it was just kind of messy, and it still worked, but it's just not ideal. So let everything cool down, and then I top all of the tortillas with all of the different ingredients I'm going to use that day. And then I fold them all up. These tortillas are the Stacy's brand burrito size, and I like them because they are much more pliable than the other sizes, but they're also huge. They're almost too big. So, but this is the best thing I've found for now. So we do enjoy these. And I'm just going to get them all rolled up. Now I'm just going to pack these all up into these Ziploc bags. This step probably isn't totally necessary, but I think it keeps them just a little bit fresher. And here's all our burritos. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this gives you some idea of meal prep for breakfast. This is so flexible. You can put whatever you have around in there, whether that's tater tots or hash brown potatoes or eggs or cheese or sauces, bacon or sausage, just whatever you have. It's a great go-to. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye.